Hi, welcome to Start to Finish Sunday. Today we're going to be making a fall thank you card with some products from the holiday catalog from Stampin Up 2012 holiday catalog. This is the Wonderfall stamp set, and it also has this coordinating Bigs die from Sizzix. These are all the shapes that it cuts out, and they all coordinate with one of these patterned leaves, and then the acorn as well from this stamp set. And we're also going to be using this pattern of designer paper from the Orchard Harvest designer paper collection. Let me just show you really quick. That's the other side, this really cute pear. And this coordinates with the Perfectly Preserved stamp set as well, but the colors work really, really well with the idea of fall leaves. First off, I want to give you a few tips for when you're working with this kind of a die from Sizzix. If you're working with something that has a front and a back, you want to always put it front side down onto your die. So whichever side you want to be the front of your die cut is going to go face down when you run your die through. So even though I'm just using some Naturals white cardstock here, there is no front and back, but still when I take the die cut off, I'm going to turn it over because it has a much nicer edge on this side. And also it's designed so that this is the front side to coordinate with the stamped image. The way that I like to do this when you have a die cut first that you need to stamp on is I take a little bit of adhesive. This is removable adhesive, and I just stick it down to my work surface so it's not going to move on me. And then I do like to use my Stamp-O-Ma-Jig. So let's get this all ready. I'm going to stamp this. I'm going to be doing the rock and roll technique, but just for my Stamp-O-Ma-Jig, I'm just going to grab some Daffodil Delight ink here. It really doesn't matter what you use, and you just tuck your imaging sheet into the corner of your tool. Put your acrylic block or your wooden block, if you're using wood mounted stamp, right up into the corner, stamp straight down. And now there you have your image on there. I don't know if you can see that, but when we put it over top of the die cut, we can get it really perfectly placed exactly where we want it on that die cut. So I've got more mustard and Daffodil Delight for this one. I'm going to ink it up in the Daffodil Delight, and then I'm going to roll it like that so that the edges get coated in the more mustard, just really gently. Okay, looks pretty good. I'll bring my Stamp-O-Ma-Jig tool in there, remove the imaging sheet, and then we can go ahead and put our stamp in the corner and stamp straight down. Press really well. And lift up. Now, I actually don't like how that came out. That, to me, has a little bit too much of the more mustard color. So I'm actually going to try this one again, but you get the idea. That's how I'm going to go ahead and do all of my leaves. This small leaf here, I'm going to stamp in pumpkin pie with a little bit of soft suede around the edges. So put my tool in place here, remove my imaging sheet, and then I can go ahead and ink this up with the pumpkin pie. And then we'll rock and roll gently in the soft suede. Go ahead and stamp that straight down. Cute. And then this little one here I'm going to do in Lucky Limeade with some crumb cake around the edges. Stamp that down. Okay, and it's mostly green, but that crumb cake just kind of gives it a little bit of a worn, weathered look. So here are my 3 leaves. This is the wood grain one that I redid. I like that a lot better. Now I'm just going to do my acorn really quick. I'm going to color my little acorn with markers. I'm going to use soft suede for the bottom portion. And then chocolate chip for the cap of the acorn. Okay, make sure that's lined up where I want it. I'm going to remove the imaging sheet. And stamp my acorn. Cute. So here are all the pieces for my card base. The card base itself is crumb cake and it is a portrait style card. Then I have a piece of the Orchard Harvest designer paper. It's going to go right on like that. I also cut a small piece of the first edition designer series paper. And this little bit happens to actually be about trees, so that's kind of perfect. And then I cut two borders out of my favorite, the polka dot scallop border edge punch. I forget what it's called exactly, but something like that. And these are both cut out of Cajun Craze cardstock. So the first thing I'm going to do is, using snail, I'm going to, oops, I ran out of snail. I'm going to adhere this designer paper onto my card front. Just center and stick that. Okay. And now I want to attach these two borders to either side of my first edition designer paper. So I'm just going to put a little bit of snail on each side. And this piece is a little bit longer than 4 1/4, so I'm going to try to line up one end. Okay. Just like that. Whoops. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay. And then this is going to go right across the front of the card. Just like that. And now I can go ahead and trim off. I've got a little bit of excess here. I can trim that off. Okay. Just like that. And now I'm going to go ahead and arrange my leaves in a little cluster kind of over here in the corner. Okay, and then we'll have the acorn like that. So I'm going to use Stampin' Dimensionals to adhere these to the card and to also to adhere them together. I'm going to put one of these really pretty designer naturals buttons just in the center, right like that. But first, I want to dress it up a little and add a sentiment to my card. For my sentiment on this card, I'm going to be using the Tiny Tag stamp set. The first stamp I'm using is this little flourish stamp. And I'm going to ink this with crumb cake ink. And I'm stamping on the Naturals white cardstock again. Just stamp that down. And then this is the Thanks So Much sentiment from the Tiny Tag stamp set. And I'm going to use my Early Espresso marker. And I'm going to stamp this right over top of that flourish. And I just trimmed that piece out a little bit, and I'm going to take my jewelry tag punch and go in and punch this out. Well, right about here, my camera ran out of memory, so as you can see, I just attached the jewelry tag to the button with some linen thread, and then I used glue dots to attach that to the center of the cluster of leaves, and that finished off my card. So thanks so much for watching today, and I hope you'll come on back next week for another Start to Finish Sunday. Have a great week. Happy stampin'. Bye-bye.